Tekken 8 Season 2 is just about 2 weeks away, and with it comes one of the biggest system changes we've ever seen made to the game. As discussed last month during the Tekken talk, in Season 2, we will now be able to sidestep both directions regardless of whether you are crouched or not. This is something we've never been able to do in a Tekken game, and this will heavily affect the meta come next season. So I thought I would dive a little bit deeper into this, talk about some of the characters affected, how it changes the meta, and what it would take to adapt to this new change come Season 2. Okay, so let's first talk about some of the characters affected, starting with Kazuya Mishima. So this heavily nerfs Kazuya's forward 4, because if you did not know, if you're facing Kazuya and they are playing on player 2 side, so the right side, forward 4 into down forward 4 has always been a very strong frame trap for this character. So forward 4 is +4 on block, and into down forward 4 is a classic frame trap, right? Because it comes out at certain frames, so you can't press buttons after this. You can power crash, maybe hit burst, parry, but you can't really step in the crouching side if you are at player 1. So this becomes a complete lockdown too. You can only step this from player 2 side. So this is why Mishimas love P2. They love to abuse forward 4 into down forward 4. It's just a very good frame trap, good for closing rounds as well. Well, come Season 2, this will not be the case anymore because it does not matter now. Even player 1, we can step the right side even though we're crouching. Like, this heavily nerfs this pressure. Yes, forward 4 is mostly used for conditioning, but at the end of the day it is plus frame, and this is used mostly to lock down opponents because of that down forward 4. So Kazuya does get hit slightly by this buff to the sidestep. So Claudio is also affected by this change, firstly with his forward 4. So forward 4 is +4 on block, leaves the opponent crouching. Classic frame trap for Claudio has always been forward 4 into back 3. And if you are P1 side, this cannot be stepped because they have to step it to the left side. But of course, if you're player 1, they are crouched, so they are only forced to step in one direction, which is the right side. So if you switch to P2, this can now be stepped. However, again, come Season 2, this won't matter because regardless of whether you're P1, P2, you can now step both sides. This is a very good pressure tool for Claudio as well. Like, forward 4 pressure with this character is actually mad. So giving us the freedom to now step regardless of the situation is just like insane. This is like a massive quality of life change that was needed in this game. And this also affects Claudio's down back 3. So down back 3 is very rarely used for Claudio. Launch punishable on block and it's reactable, so you rarely see it at high level, but I do face Claudios that love using this move. So this is +3 on block, leaves the opponent crouching as well. So if you are player 1, let's say you on the defense, like the other opponent, if you get hit by Claudio down back 3 into outstanding 4, you cannot step this. Like, it locks you because you can't step in the other direction. However, if you are P2 side, you can step this. So it also affects Claudio because, again, come Season 2, it doesn't matter. You can be able to step regardless of which side you pick. This continues on with Law, Dragon Hammer, P2 side, Dragon Hammer into outstanding 4, you can easily step this. P1 side, it locks you down unless like max range. So again, come Season 2, this won't matter. Dragon Hammer is another strong tool that low players use for pressure. Now the good thing about Dragon Hammer is you don't have to commit to full crouch. You can do Dragon Hammer and stay standing, right? You don't have to always go into full crouch. So Law is a bit more flexible. This doesn't really affect him that much, as I'll talk about later in the video with strong homing moves. So also it does impact Law a bit. It's not really as significant as Kazuya's and Claudio's. And lastly, we have Feng down back 3 into outstanding 1, another classic flowchart and frame trap. So if you are P2 side, you cannot step this. You can only step this when you are player 1. But of course, Fangs do have down back 3 into outstanding 4, which cannot be stepped regardless of which side you are. So they do have that defensive layer to cover up for the outstanding 1 weakness. So these are just a few examples of the characters affected by this change. Obviously, there are more characters. Most characters that have laws that leave opponents in full crouch that are like +4 to +3, we will now be able to be stepped in both directions come Season 2. Okay, so just what exactly does this mean for offense, for these moves that leave opponents in full crouch? Well, firstly, you are going to see a lot more homing moves. tracking moves are going to be a lot more valuable come season 2. So you better hope to God that your character has god-like tracking, because man, this is going to be wild. Like +3/+4, leaving opponents crouched isn't really as valuable anymore, because they do have options to step both directions, not an instant lockdown like it's always been like throughout the history of Tekken. Like that has changed, it's gone out of the window. Like right now, tracking moves are going to be king. So we spoke about Kazuya earlier. So Kazuya does have back 4, a very strong homing move. So instead of doing forward 4 into down forward 4 at P1 side, you see a lot more Kazuyas using back 4 now. Claudio, you see a lot of Claudios doing forward 4 into back 1, because back 1 is a very good home moves, one of the best tracking moves in the game, right? So stuff like this. It also means a change in timing as well, because what people don't understand is just because you have a move that puts you in massive plus frame situations doesn't always mean you have to go for frame traps. You have to mix it up sometimes. So you see Kazuya's do like forward 4 and then just wave dash in the opponent's face and trying to see what the opponent does after throwing out a forward 4. So this is what I mean by timing. Forward 4, down forward 4, yes, you could frame trap, but you don't have to do it all the time. So forward 4, boom, mix up your timing, wave dash, forward 4, wave dash, right? You see a lot more of this in season 2, like trust me. You see it currently as of right now, but with this change coming, you see a hell lot more of that. Like this is a huge change, guys. There's so many lows in the game, so many means that leave opponents crouching at +3 and +4, and now we can step both directions. That is insane, right? Like at least up down 3 as well, right? So now you see more tracking moves, which is honestly is a good thing, because I don't think people love using tracking moves in this game because they aren't really as valuable as a lot of cheap ass moves, right? But now you have to stop the opponent from moving. You have to throw out a tracking move because like it's a must right now. So yeah, this will heavily affect the meta in that sense. Tracking moves and timing is going to be very, very important come season 2. Alright, so how do most people feel about this change coming in season 2? Well, as usual, the community is divided. I've heard some really different takes concerning this case. Some people don't like it and some people like it. Most of those that don't like it are saying like this was one of the few ways you could absolutely like lock down your opponent in this game. Like the only way to really lock down your opponent in Tekken 8 is with a hit engager, of course giving you an absurd +17, or at the wall, right? So like the full crouch was the other way, or the other only way to lock down your opponent, because they couldn't step in the other direction, they could only step in one direction. But now that doesn't matter, which honestly I do agree to some degree, but like I just don't feel as though you should be limited in terms of movement when it comes to Tekken, especially Tekken 8, with the whole emphasis of being aggressive. We've always complained about how this game is lacking in terms of defensive options, so this just opens up so many possibilities in terms of defense, because being locked down by a move that's +3 or +4 on block did not make sense to me, right? Like that it just wasn't it. So this for me is a good change. And I think of it this way: when you are put in a crouching state in negative frames, you don't have access to your standing moves. So there are some characters that can't power crash, don't have access to other powerful moves they could have while standing. So it's kind of different from the normal plus frame moves you do, like Dragon of Running 2 or King Running 3, that just give you plus frames but leave the opponent standing. So they're kind of different in a sense. They still, like, it still limits the options you have because you are locked down. Sorry, you're put in plus frames but you're left crouching, right? So it still differentiates from just regular plus frames. Like for me, I think it's okay. But how do you guys feel about this change? Do you think it's like too much? Like, do you think they should have kept it this way to limit options and give us more ways to lock down the opponent, like as it is right now? Or it's a change that we needed, that's warranted and is good for the game, like I think right now, considering how aggressive this game is? So let me know in the comment section about your thoughts. So yeah, season 2 is only 2 weeks away, and again, this is a very, very big change. It will affect a lot of things, guys. Like tracking moves are gonna be so valuable. So yeah, if you main like Raven's whole move is kind of ass, right? You main like Leroy, you have to be worried about this. Although it also depends on the character that you're playing. Some characters don't really have a lot of tools that leave the opponent crouching. Like Raven, for example. Raven doesn't really have a lot of plus fairy moves that leave the opponent crouching, so it doesn't really affect him as much. But still, it does affect quite a huge number of characters on this roster. Like I, for one, am excited. I don't know why people would not be happy about this change. We've been crying for more defensive options, and this just opens up that can, bro. Like, come on. We're tired of this with the hit engager nerf as well. This is huge, man. This is huge. This is why I think season 2 might be good. Like, I know there's still a lot of negativity because they didn't nerf the hit engagers, but this is a big enough change to like warrant a huge like shift in the meta, right? And play the game differently. But at the end of the day, all we have to do is wait and see. Balance update incoming as well. Just have 2 weeks, guys. 2 weeks. Stay strong, my boys. We're almost there. So then, how do you guys feel about this change? As usual, talk to your boy. Let's discuss in the comment section below. Your support has been great, man. Like, I appreciate the love. My videos have been doing very well. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to doria that like button and subscribe if you're new. And yeah, may the frame data be ever in your favor, my boys. GG.